I am that I am. This isn't just the answer God gave to Moses, it's the original code for creating yourself. Every time you say I am, you're not just describing who you are. You're giving your life instructions on what to become. Whether you realize it or not, you're living according to what you repeat daily. And if you want to change your life, it starts with the next I am you choose to say. In this video, you'll learn how to use that power correctly. Not in a mystical way, but in a real, grounded, practical way. So listen to this more than once. Practice it daily. And if something here speaks to you, drop a comment below with one I am statement you want to plant today. Don't overthink it. Just write it. That small action is the first step to becoming. And if someone you love needs this message, share it with them. If you want more powerful guidance like this, hit that subscribe button now. 1. Identity is not a label, it's a command. I am that I am is not a phrase meant to be admired from a distance. It's not religious poetry or some abstract metaphysical chant. It's the foundation of personal power. A declaration, not a description. In a world that constantly tries to name you, box you in, and sell you an identity, this phrase reminds you of a deeper truth. You are not who the world says you are. You are who you say you are. And what you say, over and over, becomes the architecture of your life. This is not a theory, it's structure. It's discipline. It's how the mind, the nervous system, and even your external results get calibrated. Every I am you speak is not passive. It's a line of code your subconscious runs. And that code doesn't care whether it's empowering or destructive. It just executes. You've seen it. A friend who always mutters, "I'm just bad with money," ends up avoiding every opportunity to improve, dodging financial decisions, and watches others grow while they stay stuck. Not because they were cursed, but because they agreed to that label and repeated it until it became law in their world. You've probably done it too. We all have. I'm not a morning person. I'm socially awkward. I'm just unlucky. These aren't facts. They're contracts. They're identity scripts you signed without reading the fine print. And every time you say them, out loud or in your head, you reinforce a lens that filters how you interpret situations, how you show up, and how the world reflects back to you. Stoic philosophy speaks directly to this. It teaches that we must govern the inner world if we ever hope to shape the outer one. Epictetus didn't say, "Let the world define you." He said, "Know what's yours to control." And the first thing you control, always, is how you identify yourself. That's the gatekeeper of every reaction, decision, and outcome that follows. So when you speak the words I am, you're standing at a fork in the road. One path leads to the continuation of the past. The other leads to becoming. But you have to choose it. You have to speak it. You have to embody it. Especially when it doesn't feel natural yet, especially when no one else sees it in you. This is where people often get it wrong. They wait until they feel disciplined to say, I am disciplined. They wait until they succeed to say, I am successful. But the truth is, you don't describe a new identity. You declare it, not from delusion, but from decision. You say it first, then you start living it, step by step. Repetition builds reality. Your brain adapts, your habits follow, and the world adjusts. So here's the shift. Instead of saying, I am lazy, try, I am rebuilding my habits. Instead of, I'm always overwhelmed, say, I'm learning to create calm in the chaos. This isn't fake positivity, it's mental clarity. It's the kind of self-discipline that Stoicism demands. Not loud, not flashy, but powerful in its consistency. When you speak differently, you become different. And when you become different, your outcomes shift, slowly, steadily, but permanently. Let that be your reminder. Identity is not a label someone gave you. Identity is a command you give yourself. Speak it like it matters, because it does. Say it with intent. Say it often. And don't whisper it like a hope. Say it like a man who means it, because I am that I am isn't just a truth, it's your starting point. 2. You attract what you are, not what you want. The phrase I am that I am carries weight, not just because it sounds spiritual, but because it reveals a truth the world often forgets. You don't get what you want, you get what you embody. It's not about saying the right affirmation once and hoping for magic. It's about tuning your identity like a frequency and realizing that life doesn't respond to your desires, it responds to your state. Stoics knew this long before it became a buzzword. Don't explain your philosophy, they said, live it. It's easy to speak about change, power, peace, or love. It's much harder to live like those things are already real, especially when your outer world still reflects the past version of you. But that's the pivot point. That's where transformation happens. There's a difference between the man who says, I want to be strong, and the man who carries himself as strength in motion. One is hoping, the other is becoming, and the world sees that. People respond to that. Opportunities lean toward that kind of quiet certainty. Because when you walk like someone who is worthy, even before the results arrive, you collapse the timeline between who you were and who you choose to be. You may want peace, but if your daily habits are built on chaos, distraction, and comparison, what you're vibrating into the world is not calm, it's conflict. You may want love, but if you treat yourself with resentment and show up guarded, you're not signaling connection, you're signaling defense. It's like tuning into a radio station. If you want to hear jazz, but your frequency is still on static, it's not the music's fault. It's the dial. That dial is your identity, and you adjust it not by wishing harder, but by behaving like it's already playing. This shift happens in subtle places. It happens when you get up in the morning and choose presence over rush, when you breathe before you react, when you straighten your posture, even though nobody's watching. These moments seem small, but they carry weight, because identity is built in the shadows, not in the spotlight. It's built in the decisions you make when no one is around to applaud you. I am that I am means you are the signal, not the receiver. You're not waiting for life to tell you who you are. You're telling life what you are, and the echo that returns is shaped by your clarity. If you live like someone becoming, you attract what belongs to that version. If you live like someone still doubting, you attract the proof of that doubt. It's not mystical, it's mechanical, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. That's why this idea is not just powerful, it's practical. You don't need a perfect background, a long resume, or anyone's permission. You need consistency. You need to choose a different tone, a strong frequency, a clearer intention, and you need to hold that signal even when the outside hasn't caught up yet, because it will. That's how attraction works, not by begging or forcing, but by broadcasting with alignment. So don't say I want, start living I am. That's where the shift begins, and that's how the world starts listening. 3. Repetition builds reality. Use it with precision. If you've made it this far, understand this. You're not like most people. Most stop at surface-level motivation. Most scroll past anything that asks them to look deeper. But you're still here, and that tells me something important. You're ready to meet the version of yourself you've been postponing. Not by learning something new, but by repeating something ancient with new awareness. Because repetition, when done with precision, doesn't just reinforce who you are, it builds who you become. This is the overlooked law of identity. You are not shaped by what you believe once, but by what you rehearse daily. And the most dangerous part? Most of this rehearsal is unconscious. Each morning, the first thoughts you say to yourself, those quiet I am whispers, they lay bricks in the foundation of your day. You say, I'm tired, and your mind looks for fatigue. You mutter, I can't do this, and your body follows that instruction. It's not just language, it's programming. What you repeat becomes your lens, and once you see through that lens long enough, you stop questioning it. You don't realize it's optional, you just call it truth. But Stoic wisdom reminds us, you become what you practice. If you practice fear, you live with hesitation. If you practice apathy, you drift through life. If you practice blame, you surrender control. None of this is accidental. It's repetition without direction. And repetition without direction always leads to default identity. That's why even small statements like, I'm a mess today, or I'm not built for this, are not harmless. They're rehearsals. And each repetition strengthens a neural loop that doesn't serve your growth. The solution isn't to force some fake positivity. It's to train your mind like you would train a muscle, with consistent, focused input. When you look in the mirror and say, I am building strength, even if you don't fully feel it yet, you're pointing your brain toward construction, not collapse. Your subconscious doesn't wait for you to mean it. It listens to the moment you say it and builds from there. This is the power of deliberate identity formation. You can use your words to sculpt your mental architecture, brick by brick, layer by layer. And like lifting weights, results come with reps. It's not about saying it once and hoping. It's about choosing your identity statement and owning it, even when life hasn't caught up yet, especially then. So tomorrow morning, don't just drift into your day. Stand in front of the mirror, look yourself in the eye, say, I am becoming more present. Say, I am learning to own my power. Say, I am building a mindset that respects who I truly am. These aren't just phrases. They are identity triggers. They are mental training tools. And they will quietly but unshakably rewire how you think, how you speak, how you act, and eventually what you attract. Your repetition is not neutral. It's either reinforcing who you no longer want to be or building who you were always meant to become. Choose your words like they matter, because they do. Say them like they shape reality, because they will. And repeat them not because they're magic, but because you are. 4. Stillness after declaration is power. There's a strange urge many people have right after they say something powerful like, I am healing, or I am focused. They immediately follow it with fear, with second guessing, with doubt dressed as logic. They ask themselves, is this working yet, or do I really believe this? As if their inner transformation needs a progress bar or instant proof. But that's not how identity works. That's not how energy stabilizes. In truth, the most powerful response after a true I am is not more effort, it's stillness. It's the discipline to remain centered, quiet, and grounded after you've planted something sacred. Think of it like planting a seed. If you keep digging it up every 5 minutes to see if it's sprouting, you kill its growth. The soil needs silence. The seed needs darkness. And so does your identity. Just because something hasn't bloomed doesn't mean it isn't alive beneath the surface. In fact, the roots are often the first to grow, invisible but vital. Your declaration is the seed. Your stillness is the sunlight. And if you can stop interrupting the process will work. This is the wisdom Stoicism has always offered. It doesn't teach you to obsess over results. It teaches you to master your responses. Marcus Aurelius wrote about it, the importance of staying rooted in what you control and surrendering the rest. You don't control when life delivers the fruits of your affirmation. You don't control when people start treating you differently. But you do control how calmly you embody your new direction. And that calm, that silence, is not weakness, it's presence. It's proof that you trust the path you've chosen. A friend of mine once decided to change his identity from someone overwhelmed to someone steady. He didn't post about it. He didn't journal obsessively about it. He just started preparing better meals, walking more, and speaking more slowly. There was no fanfare, but if you watch closely, you could see the shift. Not because he forced belief into his brain, but because he lived as if the new version of him had already taken root. That's stillness. Not idle waiting. Active, embodied trust. Stillness doesn't mean doing nothing. It means you've stopped interfering with the momentum you just set in motion. You don't need to shout at the universe to prove you're serious. You simply need to stay in alignment, in your posture, in your tone, in your presence. Every moment of panic, every urge to force or prove is just fear disguised as action. The alternative is quiet certainty, the kind that doesn't shake when there's no applause yet. So when you declare, I am growing, don't wait for someone to validate it. Just water it. Walk like it's true. Breathe like it's real. And when no immediate sign appears, keep going. Not because you're delusional, but because you're committed. Let your calm become a form of control. Let your silence speak of deep inner conviction. And let the world catch up, because it will. Identity isn't about forcing something to happen. It's about living in a way that makes it impossible for it not to happen. That's the power of stillness. And it's yours to practice, starting now. 5. Break the loop, or live the same life forever. There's a kind of exhaustion that doesn't come from hard work. It comes from repetition. From living the same day, the same story, the same mindset, over and over again for years. You say things like, I always get unlucky, or I never have the opportunities others do, or I'm just not the kind of person who makes money. At first, these are just words, but when repeated enough times, they become beliefs. And beliefs become identity. And once something becomes your identity, it starts to shape every decision you make. That's how the loop tightens. It's like writing a code that runs every time you speak. Every negative I am you declare, I am broke, I am stuck, I am behind, becomes a line in that code. And like an old clock stuck in time, ticking but never moving forward, you're not broken, you're just running an outdated program. Stoicism gives you a different script. First, recognize what's within your control. Then, take full ownership. No one chooses the programming of their childhood, but every day, you choose whether to keep running that same script or write a new one. Mental toughness doesn't come from pretending the past never happened. It comes from declaring that it doesn't own your future. It's recognizing that your identity is not set in stone. It's shaped by what you repeatedly do. And more importantly, what you stop doing. If you want a new outcome, you don't chase it externally. You interrupt the inner loop. You stop saying the things that have kept you trapped. You build inner strength not through sudden transformation, but through daily micro-decisions that reflect a new narrative. Let me offer a clear image. Imagine someone stuck on a treadmill that moves, but the scenery never changes. Every step feels like effort, but there's no shift, no breakthrough, no arrival. That's what happens when you keep saying the same self-limiting beliefs. The body is moving, the soul is not. The loop is not physical, it's psychological. And here's the pivot. The next time you catch yourself saying, I always, as in, I always mess things up, or I always get overlooked, stop right there. Interrupt the pattern, and say this instead. That may have been true once, but I am no longer agreeing to that identity. That statement isn't wishful thinking, it's a break in the cycle. It's your mind refusing to submit to its old version. Discipline equals freedom, but discipline isn't just waking up early or working hard. It's also having the awareness and courage to delete a belief that no longer serves you. That's where your transformation starts. Not in changing the world, but in changing the inner voice that narrates your world. So if you want new results, stop recycling old words. Reprogram the loop. Speak from your future. It's not your past, and you'll stop reliving the same life and start creating the one you were meant for. 6. You are the observer, not the thought picture. You're sitting quietly in a coffee shop watching cars pass by the window. A loud motorcycle, a delivery truck, a taxi. You see them, but you are not them. You're the observer, calm, still, unaffected. That same principle applies to your mind. Thoughts race through, often loud and unsettling. One moment it's, I'm not good enough, then I'll never get out of this rut. But you are not that voice. You are the one who hears it. And you get to decide what becomes real. This is the heart of Stoic mental strength. Marcus Aurelius once wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That isn't just philosophy, it's a practical method for reclaiming control. Your mind will say many things. It will whisper doubts, it will project past wounds onto your present. But those are just passing mental events, like the traffic outside the cafe window. You are not required to chase them. You don't have to climb into every passing thought and ride it into a spiral. One morning, I woke up with a strange weight on my chest. A dream had shaken me. The first thought that hit me was, "You're weak." In the past, I would have gone with that. I would have let it shape my mood, my day, my identity. But that day I sat up, inhaled slowly and said aloud, "Interesting, my mind said something, but that doesn't make it true." That simple pause, that small moment of detachment, changed everything. I didn't deny the thought, I didn't fight it. I just chose not to absorb it. This is what it means to build emotional self-control, not through brute force, but by remembering you are the witness, not the noise. You are the one holding the mic, not the voice that tries to hijack it. And when you remember that, something powerful happens. You stop reacting. You stop identifying with every fleeting emotion. You start building the Stoic mindset for happiness and freedom. The real mental toughness is not about shutting down every negative thought. It's about observing them without attachment, letting them float by like clouds. You don't become the storm just because thunder echoes inside your head. You are the sky, wide, spacious, and steady. So the next time your mind shouts, "You'll never change," try this instead. Pause. Then say, "I see you, but I decide what becomes my truth." That phrase isn't denial. It's a command. It's the essence of Stoic self-discipline, the decision to control your inner world regardless of what passes through it. Mastering this isn't about perfection. It's about consistency, about practicing this simple awareness until it becomes natural, until you no longer get swept away by every wave, until you stand like a lighthouse, steady and grounded, while thoughts crash around you. That's how you rewire your mind. That's how you become mentally unbreakable. Not by erasing all thoughts, but by remembering who you really are. The observer, not the thought. 7. I am that I am. You don't need permission to be powerful. When Moses stood before the burning bush and asked God for his name, the answer wasn't cloaked in a title, a role, or a divine status. It was simple. I am that I am. A phrase that vibrates with presence, a sentence that carries no excuse, no justification, and no apology. That moment wasn't just about theology. It was a masterclass in identity. In that declaration lies the very essence of what Stoic power truly means. Grounded selfhood that doesn't seek external validation. You exist, and that alone is enough to begin. But here's where most people stumble. We wait for permission to rise, to heal, to speak up, to change. We tell ourselves, "I'll be ready when I get the right certification," or "when someone sees my worth, then I'll act." But life doesn't work like that. Growth doesn't come wrapped in approval. I once watched a close friend spend 5 years waiting for the right time to start his business. He had the skill, the idea, the fire. But deep inside, he believed he needed someone, an investor, a boss, a mentor, to tap him on the shoulder and say, "You may proceed." That moment never came. Because what he didn't realize was this: he was the permission. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus put it plainly: no man is free who is not master of himself. You don't become powerful by being appointed. You become powerful by owning the fact that you already are. That's the heart of I am that I am. It's not arrogance. It's clarity. You're not asking the world to confirm who you are. You're living in alignment with the truth you've already recognized. And when you do that, you move differently. You speak with a steady voice. You walk into rooms without shrinking. You choose discipline over delay. This is why so many people stay stuck. They chase after external labels, hoping they will unlock inner confidence. But identity doesn't start outside. It starts with the words you whisper to yourself in silence. That's why Stoic identity is rooted in action, not noise, not titles, just decisions repeated with integrity. You don't ask, "May I become the kind of person who wakes up early, eats clean, and builds something meaningful?" You just do it. Because the power of I am is not in shouting. It's in choosing. Choosing to stop making excuses. Choosing to act even when no one's clapping. Choosing to become the person who doesn't wait to be chosen. Every time you delay your evolution waiting for a sign, you hand your life to chance. But when you look in the mirror and say, "I do not need permission to grow, I simply grow," you reclaim authorship. You're no longer a character in someone else's script. You're the writer. You're the source. You're the root of the next version of you. So tonight, as the world goes quiet, try this. Sit in stillness, close your eyes, and remind yourself, I am the cause, not the consequence. This is your power, and no one has to grant it, because it was never borrowed. It was always yours. In the end, owning your power doesn't require a title, applause, or permission. It begins with a mindset, a daily choice to act with self-control, clarity, and personal integrity. When you say, I am that I am, you stop chasing approval and start building inner strength that no one can take from you. This is the core of mental toughness and the true path to emotional freedom. If this message resonates with you, share your journey in the comments. Your breakthrough, your mindset shift, or the moment you decided to stop asking and start becoming. Let this be the space where we grow together. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe for more practical Stoic mindset lessons that train your discipline, sharpen your focus, and unlock your identity through action. Because the real power, it's already inside you, waiting for you to act like it. And now, you're ready.